Guys, thanks for coming out. A little chance to recruit on Saturday, and then back at it, getting ready for Nebraska. Very good football team. Matt Rule, excellent coach. Known Matt for a long time, and he does a great job. He's certainly got that thing going in the right direction, and now it's being seen in the record. They got really good players. They're well coached. Offensively, Raiola, the quarterback, the freshman, is incredibly talented. You don't usually see a freshman that's capable of kind of doing the things he's doing right now. They got three really big wideouts: Nair, Banks, and Bonner. I mean, each one's bigger than the next. I mean, they're gigantic. Very physical group. They've drawn a lot of DPIs, as you can imagine, because of their size and the way they kind of move DBs around. The tight end, I mess up the way you say it, Fedoni. He is a really good player. I think he is one of the better ones we'll see this year. And then the offensive line is big and physical. So offensively, they're definitely going to be a huge challenge. Defensively, I think their defensive line is stout. Robinson, 9. And then 0 and 1, I think it's Butler and I don't know if I'll say this right, Hutmaker. Those three guys, as physical as you're going to see. The linebackers, we kind of know one of them. He's an Irvington kid that we recruited, really good player in Bear. And then I think the secondary is really well coached. I mean, they play together. They play. You can see they know what they're doing with the scheme. So I think their defense is one of the better ones in America, and they certainly understand what their defense coordinator wants them to do. Tony's a heck of a coach, and I think that it's a well-coached team. It's a talented team, and we're going to play them in a very, very tough place to play. So to say our plate is full would be an understatement, but that's the Big Ten. That's why I love it. So I'll try to answer anything I can.
You mentioned Dylan Rola and what he's able to do as a freshman. Can you kind of expand on that? I mean, what kind of stands out when you watch the film that kind of is surprising, given that he's a true freshman?
Well, the command that he has of their offense is, I would say is good for any level, but for a freshman is unheard of. And he's a very gifted athlete. He's big, he's mobile, he can throw on the move, he can throw from the pocket. There's not much this guy can't do, but that's why he was such a highly recruited quarterback, right? He's got all the tools.
Defensively, are you more encouraged about the way your team played in the red zone against Washington, or are you more concerned about some of the big plays you guys gave up that helped them set up in the red zone?
Well, we've been playing pretty good red zone defense here now for last season and then the beginning of this season. There's other areas that we're not playing real good defense, and we have to get it corrected. Tackling is one of them. We haven't tackled well. And I wouldn't say it was just last week. I would say overall, I don't think we've tackled well. So we need to make sure, number one, that gets fixed. We need to make sure we're all on the same page in everything we're doing.
Specifically, back to defense, no sacks or tackles for loss against Washington, and Rutgers has dropped to 115th and 126th nationally in those two categories. What's your concern level about getting pressure and playing behind the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, I mean, we had our opportunities. We didn't get them, so we have to, certainly a concern. You're not going to win consistently playing defense that way. As a matter of fact, it's rare when you do.
Ethan, I know he didn't necessarily have big numbers on Friday night, but his command of the offense, the control, and the ability to step up and make some big throws at big times, how does that change the dynamic of the offense?
Yeah, I think it changes it a lot. You look at when you're 7 for 15 on third down, a lot of that is on the shoulders of your quarterback and your receivers and your offensive line. But the guy who's handling the footballs is the quarterback. And Nathan did a very good job, answering after the block kick, throwing the fade for a touchdown. So those are all plays that we need him to make for us to win, and that's why he's here and he's doing a good job.
Tackling issue. I mean, what kind of caused that? Because obviously in past years that really hasn't been as much of an issue. I mean, what can kind of lead to that slipping?
You know what? There's been some different guys in the lineup. We got some guys coming back into the lineup. attention to detail, a lot of things, angles of entry on the tackle. There's a whole bunch of things, but it doesn't matter. We need to get them. We need to get them corrected, and the end result is you have to drop. Now the reality is Friday night they had a really hard guy to tackle, but that's the Big Ten. We're going to see that this week. They do running back by committee, but it's a pretty darn good committee. So we better get it fixed, or we're going to have some issues. And then the receivers, we better tackle them. I mean, they're all 220 pounds. It's not like tackling your normal 190-pound, 200-pound receiver.
You guys have won 2 one-score games this season. Nebraska has a very long streak of losing one-score games in Big Ten play. Do you feel confident about your team pulling through in these tight games that I imagine not only this weekend but the rest of the Big Ten schedule will provide?
Yeah, every game's independent of the others. I do believe experience is good. Don't get me wrong. And experience under pressure, no doubt, any kind of experience that you can call upon that was positive is a good one. But I think when you get in that next one, it's totally about that opponent, that game. So, and we know, it's going to be a challenge for sure. They're a really good team.
Just to follow up, I think in the locker room in Virginia Tech, there was a clip of you saying you saw something in your team's eyes when they went for that big drive to take the game, the win. Do you see something in that team? Maybe it is the experience you speak about, but do you see something in this team that in those moments is different than maybe teams you had in the past?
I've had a lot of teams that have that look. But since we've come back, that was a pretty different look that I received, as I mentioned, at the Virginia Tech game. So that's a positive. The Big Ten is the most challenging league in the country, and it requires you to get better every week. If you don't, you'll get left in the dust. So really my main focus is just getting our team as improved as we can by Saturday. Will it be enough? I don't know, but I can't control that. What I can control is my staff and I challenging and presenting opportunities for them to improve, and hopefully they take advantage of those opportunities, because that's what being in it together is all about. We have a job, they have a job. Together we both do our jobs. It's going to be an improved product on Saturday.
To go back to Raiola, when you're preparing for a quarterback that doesn't have a lot of experience as a freshman, does it change your approach or your attack at all versus a quarterback like last week with Rutgers, who's been around the block a few times?
It might, if you didn't see what he's done so far. He does not look fazed by disguised coverages. He does not look fazed by he gets hit and pops up and is fine. So I think this guy's mature beyond his years. He's grown up in a football family. I think he's kind of made to do this.
You mentioned the size of Nebraska's receivers. What's your message to your secondary cornerbacks, playing guys bigger, more physical? And Eric Rogers got shaken up there at the end. Is he going to be good to go in this circumstance?
Yeah, I'm not. It's a good try, but I'm not going to talk about the availability report before the game. You'll get all that stuff. But what I talk to the DBs about all the time, but it's really emphasized more, is you need to be really precise with your angles of entry, your coverage mechanics, because if you're at all out of position, these guys have such large catch radiuses, and they can use their body to box you out. So you're really going to have to slip the hip and really be playing good football to be able to make a play on the ball.
Just going back to Eric, obviously he's been pretty productive this season after stepping into the bigger role following Max leaving. I guess what have you seen from him and kind of what he's been able to do?
Who are we talking about?
Eric Rogers.
Eric Rogers. Yeah, I think Eric, he played a lot last year, so I don't think this is new to him. He was in a 3-man rotation. I think we got to get more guys playing at corner. I think that's an issue is the corners are probably taking too many snaps right now. I like to have a 3-man rotation going, and I think BoMasa and Ashadi Salam need to play more. I think they're good players, so we'll probably try to get them involved more. And again, when you're playing against big wideouts like that, it tires you out when they lean on you. So we're going to have to be aware of that. And it's going to be really hot Saturday too. Temperatures are predicted in the 80s. The way the stadium is set up, they flipped sidelines when Matt got back there, so the sun will be beating on us. So we got a lot of things that we're up against.
Just want to ask about BoMasa. When I know last year it took him a while to be able to get on the field and be able to play for you, but what have you seen from him, coach's son, and just kind of the maturity that he has?
Yeah, Bo's a football player, right? He's not our prototype size corner, but he plays bigger than he is. He's long and he plays bigger than he is, which is the only reason we took him, because he is a football player. He's tough, he competes, fearless. So I think he's got a chance to be a good one. You just got to keep developing. Again, I'll say it again, like, this league, you need to improve every week, and I don't mean like smidges. You need to make big improvement every week. Otherwise, you get into the middle and the back of the season. You're just not good enough to win, because everybody else in this league, it's really well coached league. I was talking to a guy today. He said, "Man, there's no rest in that league, right? Every team is well coached. Every team's talented." I said, "Yeah, that's why I love it. That's why we wanted to be in the Big Ten. It's where we belong." And I've said it before. It's that perfect intersection of elite football and elite academics. And I'll close with that. Our kids now are a few weeks into the semester, a month into the semester, and that's really where college football. I know they're getting paid and all this stuff with NIL and all that. They're still college students, and they have a lot to do. And now it's starting to pile up on them. Papers, tests are beginning, so it's all those things as a coach you need to be aware of and make sure your guys are handling that well. So it's as you get into this Big Ten season, it's a challenge. But like I said, one that we love being a part of. Thanks, guys.